Hello everyone, hope you're doing well. We're on the second iteration of the dev server. It has been updated with some new stuff. Just understand that today I'm going to be pretty busy with some personal things, but we will get through everything as we go. And also, at the same time, not everything here is here to stay. Remember, the dev server does kind of pull its own, I suppose, switcheroos every once in a while, and just make sure to remember that. The first vehicle we're going to be looking at today is the Conte di Cavour. This one was in the unused assets, and now it's just turned up. It's bing bang boshing right here and right now. This is a good old dreadnought battleship for the Italians, and you'll find it in the tech tree in the Blue Water one on the left-hand side after the Dante Alighieri. So the vehicle has access to these big guns. I actually really like this setup of guns. I don't know what it is about the triple stack and then the dual stack, but it's super nice. So you have two sets of dual 320s and then two sets of triple 320s, giving you a complement of 10 cannons on the vehicle, or 10 main armaments, I suppose. Then you also have 6 dual 135s in these turrets along here that you can see. And then also you have 12 single 65mm, surprisingly, which just seems like a weird kind of mix. On top of this, you also have 14 dual 20mm breaders and also 3 single breaders as well. You can see them kind of just like dotted around in here. So this is a modernization of the vehicle, which means that at least it'll have some AA armament, even if it is just bredas. So the vehicle itself is very much, of course, an older battleship, which means it'll have good armor, have decent punch with the guns, but will have some limitations. One of those limitations, of course, being the actual reload on the guns. You can see 2.1 rounds per minute, so it's a little bit better than some of the other vehicles that we've seen. But at the same time, you know, the targeting speed isn't great, so you're going to have to wait a while. It's going to be a bit of a pain. The fuel tanks, though, they look actually pretty cool. And no coal bunkers, surprisingly. So instead, you get the liquid fuel, which at least it says it won't provide as much armor as the coal banks, but you know how it is. Now, you may see there's a little bit of a disco going on deck. And yeah, so as I said, the vehicles aren't finished, but and it just kind of goes. But the main belt is 250. The other part of it is 130, and then also 120 above that when it comes to the main center of the vehicle. Then you also have a little bit of armor underneath, and then on the turrets, you have, of course, 280mm on the front, and the bridge is 260 with a bit of armor on either side, which is kind of cool. The ammo elevators is only 50mm though, which is probably going to be the place to target this thing because of that lack of armor. So even stuff like destroyers will be able to punch through it. All of the ammo, though, at the bottom of the ship is well protected, so kind of hard to hit that up. And then also these 135s have a 7.5 round per minute fire rate, which isn't too bad. So maybe you can set up the whole the secondary armaments to go too. It's got pretty small smoke funnels as well. So that'll be a characteristic where it'll be easy to kind of tell what this thing is. Like, you can see how small they are compared to the rest of the machine. Usually smoke funnels are a little bit higher than this. And I do like this little like kind of superstructure that they're built. Here, I'll just have to do this. I do like the kind of superstructure that they're built on top of this turret, where you have, once again, just like the dual breaders, which are sat here. By the way, the dual breaders for me are nearly as bad as the 25mm from the Japanese. They're just no good. Like, they don't do enough damage. Two aircraft have to get super close in order for them to do damage. So hopefully what we see with guns like that, hopefully what we see is, you know, these secondaries are able to do their job and do some AA rolls as well. So modification-wise, let's have a look at what we have. There's no ammunition changes for the 65mm, so it's only the 135s and the 320s. You actually start off with a SAP for the 320, which is quite nice, instead of a HE. And it has 23 kilos worth of explosive mass and over 400mm of pen. The round that you actually unlock at rank 2 has nearly 700 millimeters of penetration and also has an explosive mass of 6.38 kilos. So this one is actually looking like a really nice round to use, especially against many of the vehicles which kind of sit themselves around the place. So that's really cool to see. At the same time, for the 135mm, you have the standard HE, you have the APHE as well, which, you know, pens a decent amount with not too much explosive filler, and then the HETF, which is more designed against planes. So at least you can maybe do some anti-air rolls with this. As I said previously, though, like I feel like nowadays, because there are so many vehicles which do have a lot of anti-air on them, there's a lot less people bringing bringing aircraft at the highest echelons of the game. So instead of, you know, worrying about that as much, I think it's just more better to worry about the main armament and how it can function kind of going forward. So the main armament on this thing is fine. It's not as powerful as a lot of other vehicles that are set around the place. Right now it doesn't have any camos, but as I said, this vehicle isn't finished yet. There's no way that, you know, it's ready to ship. There seems to be something up on the top there, but I can't really see what it is. I'm guessing it's its name, because usually the Italians, yeah, you can see here Conte di Cavour. They do like putting their names on things. But the vehicle, you know, it isn't fully finished, but it's getting there. So rangefinder wise, it's 85% for this, and then also for the fire director, it's 100%. So it would be nice if it was slightly better than 85. You know, 100 would always be slightly good, but what are you gonna do? You know, you can't have everything in life, as many people will tell you, especially when it comes to naval. So the Conte di Cavour is lovely to see. The vehicle itself is one which is just a lovely addition to what we've seen previously. One of the major issues that we have in the game itself is we have a bit of an issue with the Italian Navy, where it's just not where it needs to be, because it always seems to kind of lag behind the other nations and the vehicles that they have access to. So stuff such as, you know, this Navy, it's nice to see vehicles like this added. For some reason my targeting isn't working. It's really nice to see vehicles like this added. So basically the good old Italians can get another step towards parity for their tech tree, which is definitely needed. You know, kind of going forward. When you have a look at what, like, especially America and Germany have, and even the USSR, when it comes to a lot of their vehicles, the Italian high-tier stuff is definitely a little bit behind. The fact that they're getting this machine when so many others have been brought in, which are just so much better than it, should kind of give you that indication. But luckily, this thing has a lot of pen. It doesn't have as much armor as other vehicles, but it does have some quite fun secondaries, so hopefully it can do well for the people who like to grind it. As always, I hope you have a wonderful day, and I'll see you next time. I'd just like to thank Brendan Quinn, Vilneus, Character Fuel, Juan the Panda, Carrion Crow, Gus Irenicus, Pyman, Merciless Reaper, Orange Tail, Teddy, Daniel Stanton, Moxie, B. Young, Bareen, Peter Grayling, Alan Hacker, Sem Alslan, Uncle Bean, and Derek R, and also Lafouche for supporting the channel.